Christian parenting.
Hey Mama, I'm Pamela Hinkleman, certified empty nest coach, and you're listening to the Midlife Mama podcast. This show is for Christian moms navigating the empty nest, learning how to let go with grace, set healthy boundaries, reconnect in marriage, and step confidently into their God-given purpose. Each week, I'll coach you through this season with faith-filled encouragement, honest conversations, and practical tools that you can apply right away to your relationships and your life. If this episode encourages you, I'd be grateful if you leave a quick rating and review. It helps other moms find the support they need. You'll find the link in the show notes. And make sure you're following the podcast. And let's get started. Welcome to the Midlife Mama podcast, the place for faith, friendship, and real talk for empty nest moms. Today we're talking about something every empty nest mom longs for: peace. Not the kind that comes from everything going right, but the kind that comes from knowing God is with you, even when life feels uncertain, lonely, or harder than you expected. I'm joined by Autumn Schoeck, author of This Feels Like Home, a beautiful and honest book about finding peace with God, no matter where you are with Him. Autumn shares her own story and reminds us that peace isn't found in perfect circumstances, it's found in God's presence. So if you've ever been walking through a hard or confusing season in the empty nest, this conversation may feel like a deep breath for your soul. Let's dive in. Welcome, Autumn.
Oh, thanks. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited.
I'm so glad you're here. I want to know what in your life inspired you to write This Feels Like Home.
Sure. What you just said there, just wanting to feel like you can take a deep breath, that's where I'm at. That's where I'm always at. But entering the season midlife, and I'm not an empty nester yet, but I'm standing at the doorstep. So I have a senior in high school. He's leaving next year. Most of my friends are already in the empty nest phase. So I'm always looking for peace. I'm always looking to take that deep breath. Always. And I am looking for it around every corner. I'm trying new exercise routines. I'm always wanting to go on a walk with a friend where we can dissect everything about our day. And those things are great and wonderful, but the peace kind of fades, and then I need something else to replace it. So for me, I started writing. So I should also probably mention, I'm not a theologian. I'm not in this seminary. Those people are, and I love learning from them. I'm just not one of those people, which is what I was hoping the appeal would be of my book, that just a regular lady with a lot of feelings in midlife, and I want to see what Jesus has to say about my feelings. So that's where the book started. You're going to see of all kinds of midlife themes: forgiveness, stress, anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, feeling lonely, even deaths. And so that is why this book is also for all kinds of women in all walks of faith. Because I have some people in my life who feel like, gosh, I don't know how I feel about faith. I don't know how I feel about Jesus and where I stand on. Some people who think my sin is too big, too broken for Jesus. So I really wrote with those women at the forefront, that I wanted to feel like this is a soft landing space for any woman who needs it, that they can walk into this and feel at home.
Oh, I love that. I, like you, rave peace. I just don't want chaos. I just don't. Maybe it was because I had 5 kids. I don't know. Maybe it was because I was a pastor's wife. Maybe. It's just like, I just want simple and I want peace, but I want it like settled in my bones, like in my soul.
Yes. And that changes as we age. But how can we get to a point where we aren't losing that peace? We always feel at home. And for me, that place has always been Jesus. So I was just anxious to share that with whoever wanted to listen.
I love that. Many women think that peace comes when their circumstances change. How do you discover peace with God even when things stay difficult or challenging or lonely or stressful? You name it. Fill in the blank.
Yes, all of those things. And like I said, I'm not there yet with the empty nest, but I have felt those changes with my kids. So I have 2 kids, and I was a stay-at-home mom. I now work full-time. Talk about an identity shift there.
Yes.
And some feelings of loss. So I feel that word too, like loss. that there is a little bit of loss every time those kids change and every time they change phases in life. So as I look at that, I'm thinking, if we are putting our identity in being moms, being wives, being a photographer, being a podcaster, whatever it might be, all of those things can change.
Right.
And as we've seen, they do. So how do we step around that? How do we keep the peace level? We need something that's stabilizing. And Hebrews 13:8 tells us that Jesus is the same yesterday, today, and the next day. That's forever. Forever. That's not important. Like you said, he's not chaotic. There's nothing chaotic about him. Order. So if you can get to a point where you could feel peace through him, but people will say, oh, I'm not feeling, that sounds great. That's one of the things you say. It's not what we do, it's whose we are.
Yeah.
First of all, that's a real thing. It is a real thing.
Let's not pretend.
But sometimes it sounds like Christian-easy.
Yeah.
And how do we get there? How do we apply it?
Yes.
So for me, it has to start with knowing him. We have to know somebody.
What does that mean?
So what does that mean? Yes. So for me, there's one word that comes to mind, and that's my Bible. It's my Bible. And I know that for so many women, including me, sometimes that feels overwhelming. Like, where do I start? What do I do here? This is Mark and Luke are probably my two favorite books to really get in and see who he is. How did he talk to people? Who did he hang around with? How did he handle difficult people? When you start to see that and know him, you can trust him. And then once you trust him, think about in your relationship. Once you trust somebody, trust something, you can shift that responsibility over. You can start to surrender. And for me, the surrender and the kind of pushing my bag of trash, if you would, at his feet,
Yes.
is what brings me peace.
I like to call it the great exchange, where we
I love
exchange
that.
all of our stuff for what he has, which is comfort, guidance, direction, wisdom, peace, encouragement, strength. So we have to stop looking at our circumstances, because in this season of life, when you are first stepping into this empty nest season, it is so disorienting because your identity completely changes. You are no longer the busy functioning mom. You step back and let your child gain some autonomy and become responsible for themselves. When a mom doesn't let her child become responsible for himself, they end up living in the basement at 35. I coach moms through this, and there are still some, and it is so painful for her.
Yes.
She can't let him go.
And it feels good to be me. So, gosh, when those kids are, Mom, what's for dinner? Mom, what I still need in here? It does. It fills something with us, but it's not necessarily the best end goal.
Right.
Right.
So because we have peace with God, because we've learned to know him through his word, because he is the word, when we're reading the word, we can always say, what is this telling me about God? Not what does this tell me about me? What does this tell me about God? And then when I know who God is, then I can trust him. And then it's in that letting go. This season is all about letting go. You know, when our kids were teens, we would give them a little bit of responsibility and let them venture out into the world. That was like practice for the empty nest season.
Yeah.
You literally let them go. Like they are their own people now.
And that's a scary feeling. That is, and the idea of scared but ready, I feel like describes the whole thing. But it is. It's scary. I'm still scared because I'm not launched
Sure.
yet. Yeah. And so
That's
I
normal.
don't know if you remember this, but I'm in that place of feeling, okay, it's a countdown. I have 5 months left with her. I need to make sure she knows about this.
Yes.
A necklace of basically panic going on.
Basically no peace. Basically what we shouldn't be doing.
Much. So don't do any of that.
Don't do that. Let's instead lean into peace. What does peace actually look like while you're anticipating this? It's a loss. It's a transitional grief. We're all going to experience it. We knew that our child would grow up. We didn't talk about what that would look like. So how can she experience peace in the great unknown? What can she do?
So with me, oh my gosh, where do I even start? There's so many things that point to a lack of peace in a woman our age. I can check so many of those boxes. But what I'm working on right now is basically going through a question, answering a question. Now, this is going to sound like flippant and dismissive, but I'm doing it like 10 times a day, trying to create a practice of who cares? Who cares? Okay. So before you're like, what is happening? So let's say that even with writing my book, gosh, I could look really stupid. I'm the theologian. I don't know that much, but I know about feelings. And when I try this, I can look really dumb. Okay, so I have to set myself. Who cares?
Who cares?
It's not fun. Or the world. So there's your measure.
Yes.
Are you doing things? Am I doing things to be seen, to feel fulfilled, to have a purpose in this world? Or am I doing things that are more of a faithful obedience?
Yes.
Looking to God for that direction. So the whole who cares, it sounds, I'm really, I'm saying to myself, oh, who cares?
Who cares that she's leaving me? Who cares that she's going away to college?
Against me can't. Shoot, you just got the link.
Maybe it's more, you don't have to have all the answers now.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
Yes. Because you're right in saying that God cares about our heartache. God cares about our sadness. So it's not to dismiss those feelings. It's a measure of, am I worried about in my empty nest feeling like I am nobody to the world?
There you go. That's it. When I've lost my identity, I've lost my identity as a mom. Guess what? Your role as a mom was one role. It was not your entire identity. It's just one thing we do for the Lord, and we did it well. But God has so much good apart from your mothering. And we'll always be moms. Like no one's taken our mom card away. It's just going to evolve and change, and the relationship grows. But you're their mom forever. You just relate to them in a different way.
In a different way. Right? That's it.
Hey mama, if your house feels too quiet and your heart feels too heavy after launching your child, I've created a guide just for you. It's called Journaling Through Transitional Grief, a gentle, faith-filled resource to help you process the deep emotions of letting go. Inside, you'll find 6 reflection questions that will help you name your feelings, invite God into the grief, and experience His comfort in the middle of change. Remember, transitional grief is only a season, and God is leading you toward peace, purpose, and joy. You can grab your free copy at the link in the show notes. Now, let's get back to our conversation. Okay, so how can empty nest moms find a sense of home with God when their identity as a mom has changed?
So if you are really looking into the things that you were doing and your focus was on your kids, obviously. And I feel like sometimes too, I come out of the focus on my kids and then I can even start really focusing on myself and everything that I'm feeling. And I can even be overwhelmed by my feelings and trying to fix my feelings. So one of the things that you could do is shift that focus outward. So take it from where it's about me and how I'm feeling and I'm sad. And yes, those things are real. I will never tell moms, don't forget about that. Get over that. Those are real feelings. But how can you shift your thought process and what? So one of the things I would recommend, my mom actually used to always say it to me, when you are feeling sorry for yourself, when you're feeling down, when you're sitting there thinking about yourself, do something for somebody else. Can you call a friend to go? Can you just stop by somebody's house with a coffee and say, I was thinking about you, or putting a note of encouragement in somebody's mailbox? Something like that to turn the focus outward.
I love that. I'm currently reading a book called The Dose Effect, and it's all about hormones. dopamine and serotonin, but actually your serotonin rises when you do something for someone else. So it's good for your brain chemistry. We're not supposed to be so self-focused. Oh, me, I'm so sad. Like,
Yes.
I
Yes.
love that.
And with that, I think we also have to get comfortable being alone a little bit and not being so afraid of. I remember when I was little and we'd go out to eat or something, and I would see a woman sitting alone in the movies by herself, or see a woman having lunch by herself, and it would break my heart. And half I like take all the on.
Yes.
But now that I'm older, I say, oh my gosh, how lucky she is to be able to just sit there and be okay. And that being alone doesn't mean lonely. A lot of that lonely is, gosh, not that it's not a real feeling, but to me, that sounds verbiage of the enemy
Exactly.
who is sitting with us in those lonely spaces saying, nobody even needs you anymore.
Yeah.
You're not important. And it's all lies.
Right. Because what does the Lord say? Never will I leave you or forsake you.
Never will.
We're never alone. So it goes back to knowing God. What do you know to be true about your life? What do you know to be true about God? And then applying that to these moments. So I love this idea of reaching out. Do you have any other simple, practical ways a woman can move toward peace with God when her heart feels anxious or unsettled?
So for me, so you mentioned the hormones, and I'm in my menopause era. Oh, hello. And which means I'm also in my ADD era. So I don't know, those two seem to be going hand in hand for me. So I'm like, oh,
Can't focus.
I can't focus for anything. So yeah, a few years ago, before my menopause era, I was able to spend time with God and find my peace in maybe listening to worship music in the car while I was driving the kids around. It might have been listening to a podcast, and not to say you don't want to because they're bad. But the older I get and the more ADD-ish I feel, I have got to get into peace and quiet. So for me right now, to really, and I don't know about you, but sometimes I feel like I'm done talking. I want to listen. I want to listen to what God has to say to me. So how can I create a space where I can hear him? And for me, that is being quiet. Right now, it's going outside. Even 5 minutes, no phone, and just being able to look at the order in God's creation, to sit there and let him see me. Being alone, a lot of the times in the morning, I will get up and go down to the basement where my family can't find me. And that's where I'll do some devotions and I'll read my Bible. It really is like my pill for the day, if you will. It's my good pill that I have to have. I guess I would say actual practices for me right now in this time of life, and it will look different for everyone, but being alone, not being afraid to be alone so we can listen. A lot of the times you have to be intentional and really do this.
I love that. It is so lovely to just open God's word and say, what do you want me to know? And then just listen.
Yes.
Like, you're not studying anything. You're not doing all the things that are good things. And yet, God, I want to know what you want me to know today, not what some devotional tells me I want to know. I'm like, what do you want me to know? Yeah.
Is there any other subject that exists on the face of the earth that you could sit down with day after day and it's like insatiable that it's God's word, it's alive, and he will use that word to speak to you. And I think that until you've been in his word, you might not really get it or understand. I didn't. No, I really started spending time in his word and felt.
I love it. Autumn, I would love to know, what is one little tidbit you have for the mom who's on the verge of the empty nest or in the empty nest? What does she need to know about God's peace?
That he loves you so much. That he loves you so much. He knows everything about you and he wants you. That you are good enough for him. That when you sit with Jesus, it is like walking into a warm, cozy home where you are greeted by name. You are fully known, which means the good and the bad, yet you are fully loved. Everything. He loves everything about you. There's nothing you could do to make him love you more. And I think that's the commercial that he gets us. Have you seen the commercials? I love some in a trying situation.
Yes.
And then the words come up, he gets us, and they're referring to Jesus. A lot of the times I shift that and I say, but do we get him? Do we get who he is? And like I said, how he talked, how he acted, how he handled things, because I truly believe if you read about him and you really get to know him, you will love him and you will feel that peace that passes all understanding. It makes no sense, but yet it's there. So I want those women to know that they are loved and they are valued by God. Even if the way they're valued at home has shifted, and maybe even been minimized, they are valued inherently by God who adores them.
That's right. Thank you so much, Autumn. It's just about knowing God more and listening for his voice in the moments that feel unsettling and lacking peace. We just can quiet down and go sit with him and see what he has to say.
Absolutely.
Autumn, I would love it if you can tell my listeners where they can find your work online and your book.
Sure. So the book you can find anywhere books are sold. It's called This Feels Like Home, Inspirations for Finding Peace. I should qualify that. Anywhere books are sold online. It's on Target, Barnes & Noble. You can find it on there. And I also have a website where I write weekly devotions. Totally free. You can subscribe to them or just hop on. So it's my first and last name, Autumn Schoeck. Yeah. I post those every Wednesday.
Wonderful. I will leave all those links in the show notes so my listeners can find you. Mama, if you're walking through this unfamiliar season, I hope this conversation reminded you of one simple truth. Peace isn't found in perfect circumstances. It's found in God's presence, in knowing that he is here, that you can quiet your heart and just listen. Even when life feels unfamiliar, uncertain, or heavier than expected, you're never without a home. Your peace is rooted in the unchanging character of God. Here's your coaching tip of the week. In each episode, I will give you one actionable step to improve your life. Remember, you can't change everything, but you can take one step to be better. This week, I just want you to carve out 5 minutes and get quiet and see what God says. Go outside, snuggle into your bed for a minute and don't fall asleep. Get comfortable and just expect to hear from God, and you will. If this episode encouraged you, would you take a moment to leave a rating and review? It helps other empty nest moms find the show. And if you're longing for more peace, clarity, or purpose in this season, I'd love to walk alongside you. There's a link in the show notes where you can apply for coaching. Grace and peace, Mama. You've got this, and God's got you. Thank you so much for spending time with me on the Midlife Mama podcast. My hope is that you leave each episode feeling encouraged, grounded, and clearer about what you're feeling, what God may be stirring in you, and how to move forward in the season of the empty nest. Through these conversations, I'm not just sharing stories, I'm coaching you, helping you name what's happening beneath the surface, challenging the thoughts that keep you stuck, and take intentional steps toward peace and confidence as a midlife mom. If you're ready to go deeper and want personalized coaching support, I invite you to apply for coaching. Coaching is a focused one-on-one space where we work together to gain clarity, process emotions, and discern what God is calling you to in this next chapter. You'll find the application linked in the show notes. And let's stay connected. You can find me on Instagram at @phinkelman. That's PHENKELMAN, or on Facebook at Pamela Hinkelman, Empty Nest Coach. You don't have to figure out this season alone, Mama. Support and direction are possible, and I'm here when you're ready.